It's Just Not Halloween Without a Haunted House by Smithsonian.com. Every year, a website called Haunt World ranks the scariest haunted houses in the United States. This year's winner is outside of Austin, Texas. It's called House of Torment, and it features flesh eating zombies, insane monsters, and terrifying clowns. Last year's winner, Haunted Overload, dropped slightly in this year's rankings. However, it's still scary enough that people with heart problems are warned against buying tickets. This is what a haunted house is supposed to do. They exist to scare people. The idea behind haunted houses is not new, of course, as people have sent shivers down their spines with spooky stories for centuries. Haunted houses are different, though, because Halloween made them famous. They could not exist without Halloween, and Halloween would not be the same without them. The original haunted house. Around the year 1900, the closest relatives to today's haunted houses started experimenting with gruesome themes. In Paris, the Grand Guignol Theater became famous for seeming to show people being torn limb from limb. The theater's director, Max Maury, bragged that he judged performances by the number of people who passed out in the audience. In 1915, an English fairground debuted one of the first ghost houses, an early type of horror attraction. Lisa Morton, the author of Trick or Treat, A History of Halloween, said that Halloween-themed haunted houses first emerged during the 1930s. American parents cooked up ways to distract young tricksters, whose holiday pranks included damaging property and bothering strangers. They came in about the same time as Trick or Treat did, she says of haunted houses. Cities looked for ways to buy these kids off, essentially. Those first haunted houses were very basic. Groups of families would decorate their basements and hold parties. Kids would travel from basement to basement, experimenting different scary scenes. A 1937 party pamphlet describes how parents could also design trails of terror to spook their children. An outside entrance leads to a rendezvous with ghosts and witches in the cellar or attic. Hang old fur, strips of raw liver on the walls, where one feels his way to dark steps. Weird moans and howls come from dark corners. Damp sponges and hairnets hung from the ceiling touch his face. Doorways are blockaded so that guests must crawl through a long dark tunnel. The pamphlet recommends placing black cardboard cat outlined in glow-in-the-dark paint at the exit. Disney makes them famous. The haunted house didn't become famous, though, until Disney opened its Haunted Mansion in 1969. The attraction quickly became a success. In a single day, not long after it opened, more than 82,000 people passed through it. The attraction's centerpiece is the Grand Hall, a 90-foot long ballroom of dancing ghouls. It's the start of the haunted attraction industry, Morton says. Within a few years, the haunted house had spread across the country. In the 1970s and 80s, Hollywood began to put out horror movies like Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. The popularity of these movies created more demand for scary attractions. Professional haunted houses first emerged in the same era. Then tragedy struck. A fire at the haunted house in New Jersey trapped and killed 8 teenagers. Soon, attractions were shut down and lawmakers passed stronger safety regulations. Bigger, splashier professional haunted houses survived. It was an important movement for the industry, said Larry Kitchener, president of Haunted House Association, a trade group for the haunted house operators. New and extreme frights. During the next 2 decades, the number of professional haunted houses grew. Kirchner estimates that roughly 2,700 of them were in operation nationwide last year. A large haunted house attraction can earn $3 million during the Halloween season, and the industry is worth $300 million, according to an NBC News report. These days, haunted houses are no longer just about creepy characters and realistic horror. Instead, the industry has embraced all sorts of new extreme frights, such as zombie runs, escape games, and traumatizing experiences. How long will these successes last? Can haunted houses last another 50 years? Kirchner doubts that the haunted house is here to stay. If I was going to guess, I'd say no, he says. Every business will eventually fail, so we just want to last as long as we possibly can. A Halloween without haunted houses? Now that's a scary thought.